Welcome to the Sparky Coach podcast. You got Cam here. Bit of a solo lounge session today, so I hope things are well in your world, whatever you are up to. Wanted to dive into a little bit of administration topics, I suppose, or a bit of a discussion around it all. And I guess my core focus on the admin side of things is having a look at your business administration as part of the business that can be extremely helpful to your success in business, but also to having a look at your admin as, hey, it's part of the business, I need to embrace it, rather than having a look at it as like, this is too hard and I'm just going to ignore it. So I wanted to have a look at, I guess, simplifying and having a look at your admin in a simplistic way that can make your business run a little bit smoother, maybe run a little bit easier. And I think I want you to take away from this little listen that, hey, it's really important that I get my business streamlined to make my administration part of the business and a enjoyable part of the business that is able to make the business better as a whole. So I think a lot of us put too much emphasis on the skill set that we're really good at, or the skill set that we have. And in this instance, generally speaking, the skill set being we're really good at being a Sparky. And so then in turn, we ignore or put our head in the sand around the other parts of the business. And in this particular instance, the administration side of it, which can actually be super helpful. And in the scheme of things, it's super, super important. That's just the reality of it all. So I'm just going to run through a few little areas within the admin side of it that can just make your life a little bit easier, a little bit more enjoyable, and then in turn will help you as a business owner to be able to move forward to get the outcomes that you're looking to achieve, desire, however you want to frame it up. So I'm going to break it into a few sections. So I'm going to start with, I guess, I'll probably call it a little bit logistics, I suppose, is a way that you could frame it. It's a bit of the setup side of things. How are we going with what we have? So first and foremost, I want to have a look at what's really, really important here is around the way the businesses operate now. So obviously a lot of businesses have portals to every platform, everything that they need. So whether it's the software that they're using or whether it is the suppliers that they have credit accounts with, or whatever it is, there's always some kind of online login or online platform that needs to be accessed. So this usually requires a username and it usually requires a password as well. So in this case, I want to have a look at getting all of that information organized. So getting it in one place. So just going to have a look at two really simple ways that you can have a look at doing it. So one way you can do it is through a encrypted online platform. So examples of that would be like your LastPass or your Password Keeper or something along those particular lines. And you're getting it all in one location. And then that way you can have it sorted as well. So you're looking at, hey, I want to get all my usernames and passwords, and then we can look at categorizing them as well. What the benefit of this is that you then can enable other people to have access to them as well in regards to different levels of it all. So obviously you don't want someone to have access to your bank account or personal information, but for a access to one of your suppliers, for example, that they have access to it, or they may have a separate username for it, but we have that in a location that is accessible. So two ways you can have a look at it. So the first way that is touched on there was having a look at like a Password Keeper platform or LastPass. The other way you can do it is good old spreadsheet. Really, really simple. You can just set up a spreadsheet, create a list of it, and then with the spreadsheet, you can actually make it password encrypted. So what that means is you create a password against that particular spreadsheet. So to be able to access that spreadsheet, you need to remember a particular password yourself. Now, obviously, there's multiple ways that people keep them, and I've heard it all. There's a little black book next to your desk, basically in a filing drawer. Not very easy to access for anyone else. And probably if it got taken or got access to, then your world would probably spiral pretty quickly. But I want to encourage everyone to make it a priority to get all of those important pieces of information together in a location that is easy to access. There's nothing worse than going through and being like, hey, I need to get access to this A, B, C, and D items. I need to get access to this wholesaler. I need to get access to this particular supplier, or I need to get access to this particular portal. And then it's a case of, hey, I need to reset the password. It's sent to an old email or it's sent to somewhere else. It's about getting that organized and in line so that you're able to access it easily. The other thing that I think you'll find with that also too that helps you do it is you might identify that you historically have a lot of information that is going to incorrect email locations, which sort of leads me on to the next area that I think is really important as well. And I think it's about getting your email structure in order. Now, there's a couple of thoughts around this. I feel like at a minimum, you need a few. I'm going to give you some examples of how you could go about it. So obviously there's going to be an email address associated with the business for you personally. So you have access to that. I think there always needs to be a forward-facing email. And what I mean by that is a forward-facing email out to the world. So it could be the email that goes onto all of your advertising. It could go onto your vehicles. It could go onto all of your documents, letterheads, etc., etc., etc. But that is a forward-facing one, and generally speaking, it can take a bit of a hit. And what I mean by that, it can get the spam sent to it. It can get the random pieces of information sent to it that aren't probably generally overly important. So, you've got a forward-facing email. I think you should also have a look at having a email that's associated with the administration side of the business as well. So it's a place where all of your supplier invoices can come into. It may just be maybe an admin at one, it could be an accounts at one, but it's created a facility where all the administration side of the business can be communicated and funneled into one location. There's nothing worse than bouncing around through multiple locations in an email sense to be able to try and find certain pieces of information. So it's a really good opportunity to have a look at, hey, how can we streamline things? One other thing I think that should be looked at also potentially as well that you could have a look at, and this is an idea that Joey passed on to me, was that they had a shared inbox for staff, so that for information that needed to be shared amongst them, or information for access. So it could have been plans that needed to be shared, or it could also be information based on, hey, we needed to get an induction here, or we need to do a course online or something like that. It just gives the ability for all the information to come into a location, and it's accessible, and it's just to do with them. So it's to do with your staff members in association with that side of things. So just want to encourage you to get the email part sorted as well, so that you can have it all streamlined. And what this leads to, a lot of it is that it makes life easier for someone else to be able to help you out. So, hey, we're getting this information located in a spot that makes it easier for people to come on board in the future. What I have a look at next, it would probably be getting your accounts in order. So obviously your online platform for your accounting software, which would be like a Xero, for instance. Big fan of Xero. I probably want to highlight through experience the integration with multiple job management softwares make, I feel, Xero probably stand out above the rest, to be honest. It's very easy. It's an easy integration for them, and it functions really well also too. So making sure that you've got your account side of things in order. I think also too, having a look at how your document management works in with that. So like a beautiful thing with Xero is that HubDoc integrates into it, and it's free. It's part of Xero. So HubDoc is your platform where you can upload all of your invoices or receipts to a location that they can be facilitated across to Xero in a sense that makes life really, really easy. So having a look at, hey, what account management software are we utilizing and what document management software are we using, and that makes life really, really easy for you. Then want to move on to have a look at what job management software are you using and what level are you using it to. So have a looking at, hey, how have we got this sorted? Have we got enough users associated with it? Are we using it to its best ability? Now, I don't want to go in and dive into a massive, big conversation around job management software, but I think it's worth having a look at, hey, am I using my current job management software to its potential? So first and foremost, and the needs that I have it for. And then secondly, is the job management software meeting what I have requirement-wise currently and then into the future? Because job management software is going to become a huge part of your business moving forward. And as technology changes and improves, and we have advances as well, further and further, particularly into other areas, that it's going to become a really important part of your business. So job management, super important there. Then also to want to have a look at like where your suppliers sit at. So what suppliers are you using, who are you using supplier-wise, and have we got accounts with them? Let's make our life easier. So a lot of the business, I guess, chaos administration that we're probably feeling is through general disorganization, general, I guess, not having it streamlined or not having it coming to an area that is easily processed. So I want to encourage you to have a look at who you're using in a supplier sense and do we have an account with them. Now, the benefits of having a credit account with them is that pretty much all suppliers now have some sort of online portal associated with them. And then in turn, it's an electronic system that's associated with them. So all of your invoices end up in an electronic relay sense. So it's sent to you in an electronic form, generally through email. And then an electronic history is created for you as well, which is then set into your portal. So for whatever reason, if that email is not received or the email is lost, you have the ability to go back onto your portal and have a look and be able to find that. Whereas opposed, if you're just doing cash sales, once that receipt's gone, once that tax invoice is gone, it's gone forever. Unless you're going back physically to that particular location, you can give them a time and date and a bit more specific information, which, let's be perfectly honest, no one's going to do. It's gone forever. So I think it's really important to have a look at, hey, what suppliers do I use? Who do I use regularly? And who do I need to get my account set up with to make life easier? Because what you want to really avoid here is you want to avoid any reimbursements. You want to avoid any double handling, triple handling, finding information. What this organizational part of it, just getting organized with your admin does, is it makes admin easier as well. So what you're probably feeling currently at the moment is like a bit of the pain, a bit of the, I guess, frustrations that you're feeling would be generally coming down to a little bit of disorganization with the way that you're operating, just in a functionality sense. And a fair chunk of this can be taken away just by getting a baseline organizational level so that you're not searching for information. Information is being fed to you. And I think that's really important to understand, and a lot of people probably overlook that, is that, you know, if you can just go to your one email account and you know that that's where all of your accounts are going to be being sent to, so all the information associated with it, makes it really easy for anyone to do it, because it's just like, hey, this is where all our tax invoices come to. This is where all of our supplier invoices come to. This is where you'll find all the information associated with any spend money that we have to do with the business. Now, in turn, compare that to, hey, we've got our information coming across multiple platforms. So it can be coming across multiple email addresses and multiple platforms. And what I mean by that is that we've got an old email address that we had when I very first started the business, when I was a sole trader, which could be just a generic Gmail or Hotmail or Outlook or something like that. And it's going to that. And now we've advanced on. And then I've got some going to my personal email, because that was the first email that we set up when we registered our domain. And then now we've also got some coming to our admin one, which we only set up 6 months ago. And it's like, no, well, let's get ourselves in order. And I think the thing is that often the amount of time involved to get a little bit organized is exaggerated and probably feels more than what it actually is. So it's like, if you sat down realistically just for a day and focused on getting yourself organized in an administration sense, say, hey, well, who are all my suppliers? Where are all my emails sitting? Who do I want to open up accounts with? Like, you'd punch out a lot of things. You would get a lot done in that time frame. If you sat down for 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, if you sat down for a week, you would be very surprised with the amount of work that you would get sorted in that particular time frame. So it's not going to take months and months and months and months and months of time. It will take that time frame if you're only allocating a small window of time per week, 15 minutes here, 30 minutes here, or an hour. Because what happens is the most urgent thing takes over, or we get lost, or we find other things that are a bit more of a priority. So having a look at how you operate in a logistics sense is fundamentally the baseline that will make your life easier moving forward, and then will make life easier for the flow of your admin, and will take away that disorganization and chaos that you're feeling because information's flying everywhere. And I think like Joey's made a good point previously, just when I've been having a conversation with him, is that if your emails are out of control, for example, if you open it and there's 1,000 in there, it's very easy to be overwhelmed and be like, hey, there's 1,000 here, and just don't shut the laptop and don't deal with it. Don't move forward in association with it. So having a look at like, hey, how can I get a little bit more organized? How can I just get myself sorted? How do I get myself moving forward in a direction that I want to do? And a lot of that is just logistically getting yourself a little bit sorted and together. So your account side of things, getting that in order as well. So how am I operating my accounts at the moment? And I feel like your zero reconciliation tells a lot about how your business is operating, right? And what I mean by that is you have money come in and you have money go out. So money comes in from your customers and money goes out being spent to suppliers' operational costs. Now, if they are not auto-reconciling with, and what I mean by auto-reconciling, if they're not coming out with a match, so to speak, in a zero sense, in an easy way, in regards to basically saying that, hey, if I've got $2,000 paid from Jenny, who we did a job for recently, and that money comes into your account and it's not matched against an invoice, to me, that is an alarm bell which is saying to me that you either A, haven't sent the invoice to them, and then in turn haven't sent it, when I say haven't sent it to them, you haven't sent it to your Xero platform. So then in turn, it doesn't have a chance to match. It's like, okay, why isn't it matching? And then in turn, if you've got a massive, massive list of expenses and expenditure sitting in there, so lots of transactions that are occurring, that tells me that you're operating a lot in a cash sense or a credit card sense, or you're spending recklessly, potentially, or you're making a lot of transactions that may or may not be unnecessary. And if they're not able to be matched easily, again, as well, it's okay, cool. Why aren't they matching? Are we sending the invoices in? Are we sending the receipts in? Are we keeping a track of where our expenditure going? Is this actually a legitimate expense that was required for the business? So I think if you have a look and sit down and have a look at your operations of your accounting software and it becomes a bit of a drag and it's not easy, well, then you're not feeding it the correct information. And this is where something like HubDoc comes into it really, really easily, and your job management software linking comes into it really, really easily, is that it's just pushing the information across. So it's attaching that invoice, it's attaching that receipt, it's sending that customer invoice that has been sent to sent to them already from the job management software. It should be really easy. Reconciling in your accounting software should be extremely straightforward. It should just be, hey, we spent this money, it matches with this invoice. We received this money, it matches with this invoice. It should honestly only take a few clicks say you jumped into it every single day, you're probably only going to have a handful of transactions every single day. And you should be able to set that up really, really easily and get yourself streamlined. So your accounting software, the way it's running at the moment, will tell a lot about how chaotic potentially your accounting is. Potentially how your administration is, and that you can get it back in order really, really easy. And that's what I want to encourage, is that if you just get a little bit organized logistically, it will be able to run in a really, really smooth and succinct manner. Have a look at the other one is, hey, how are we performing in a payroll sense? Are we paying our staff properly? First and foremost, have we checked our wages at all anytime in the most recent nearest time frame? Are they getting everything that they're entitled to as the apprentices in regards to any allowances, in regards to the war? Have we just had a look at it? Have we just checked it at all? Full stop. Are we making our life extremely difficult here by manually doing a lot of things? Is there ways that we can make things a little bit easier? So I want to have a look. I'll circle back to that part. But hey, have we just checked it lately? Is it linked? Is it linked between our job management software and our accounting software? Really, really simple thing. So have a bit, do yourself a favor and have a look at, hey, how are we doing things and could I be doing them better here? Is this a bit of a drag? Am I making things really difficult for me in this particular sense? So get yourself sorted on that front. Now, next thing I want to move on to is having a look at purchasing. So there's only really a handful type of purchases that you make. So you're purchasing for jobs. So you're purchasing for tools and equipment for the business. You're purchasing operational related items, which fall under the operations of the business. And then you're obviously going to be paying contractors or subcontractors. Now, let's make things really easy. When we purchase, let's put a purchase order against it, right? A purchase order is then trackable, right? We have something to reference to. Let's make our life really, really easy. Now, we dive into this a little bit further. If we have a job management software, we can then create a purchase order against specific jobs, so that when that material is ordered, we know that that material was associated with job number 1, 2, 3, 4. And I think that is extremely important to understand and integrate with your business, is that instead of relying on Smith Street, and we're working at 4 houses on Smith Street, the manual side of that. So just think about this. If you've got a supplier invoice from your electrical wholesaler, for example, and you've got Smith Street as the reference on there, and then you go back and have a look at your jobs and you've got multiple jobs on Smith Street, for example. Could be really simple. Could be doing some duplexes, could be doing some townhouses, could be doing some villas, could be doing multiple jobs on that. What are you actually allocating that material against? Are you even allocating that material against? Do we even know where that came from? Did we even buy that material? So I really, really want to encourage anyone who's got some sort of a job management system, and if you don't, highly recommend getting a job management system, that you start using your purchase orders to their full extent, because it just takes all of the guesswork out of what is and isn't happening. Another real benefit of purchase orders is that, hey, If the supplier invoice comes in with no purchase order, right, you can look at it and be like, hey, we didn't make this payment. This item has been allocated incorrectly to our account. So it gives the opportunity to have a conversation with the wholesaler and be like, hey, what's going on here? It also gives us an opportunity to have a look at where our money's going. How do we get better? Who's purchasing? What's buying? What's on back order? So I really want to encourage you to use purchase orders. Gives you an idea also too, hey, what tools we're using for the business when you go and buy tools. And then it gives you the ability to allocate a PO to a contractor or a subcontractor as well, so that their time and their cost associated with the job can be allocated against a particular job itself, so that you know, hey, we had subcontractor Robbo coming to help us, and he worked on the Smith Street Villa 1 for 2 weeks. And it's like, sweet, we can allocate his 80 hours on that particular job to allocate, so then we can start to measure. And I really want to then drill down here is that what this allows you to do is allows you to measure and monitor everything. See how you're performing, see what's happening, see how it's going. So then it gives you the ability to get an accuracy around measuring every single job with how you're performing against it. So purchasing is really, really important, and I think often overlooked. Your job management system, they all have a way of doing it. Some do it better than others. The other thing that what sort of flow-on effect around the purchasing side of thing that's extremely beneficial here is the integration that can occur now. So instead of manually receipting your particular invoice from the supplier, that supplier can now often be mapped and automatically feeds in to your system, so it is auto receipted, so to speak, and then so those items then can end up on the job that they're meant to be on. What can also occur is that if it doesn't have an auto integration, there's a lot of mapping that can occur now. So you can set up particular automation feeds. So if you're using a supplier that might not have an integration, it can map the data on that, and that can occur and feed straight in. So what you're doing is you're doing away by getting organized and just getting a few simple things set up in the back end of your business, is you're doing away with a lot of the manual handling of the data entry side of things, which is an administration cost, so to speak, with your business. So what it does is it gives you the ability to in turn be able to become more efficient and reduce the administration time. So a lot of the things here that I've sort of gone over, and I'll go over a few more in a moment as well, is that a lot of this information and time spent is unnecessary. Finding information, chasing information, which in turn all takes time. A lot of it can be alleviated, and a lot of it can be happening automatically for you, which then in turn helps you become more organized, and then in turn reduces your so-called like chaos or so-called disorganization around the whole administration side of things. So really want to encourage the purchasing side of things. Next couple of things I want to have a look at is your job management side of things, in regards to job cards in particular. So make your life really, really easy is that job cards, set them up, use them. Hey, these are the job notes that we need. We want them to be completed. At a bare minimum, we want to get one job card completed for every job every day. This creates a history of the data and information that was created on the job. What happened there, what was done, what materials were used, what times were we there, who was there, all that sort of stuff, all that sort of stuff creates the information for you, which then gives you the ability to be able to prepare the jobs, which is really important for invoicing side of things. So job cards are really important, and you want to be setting everyone up in a way that, hey, we need this information. It's really important. And it becomes such a crucial cog in the wheel, because then what happens is someone else can do it. If you have the job cards coming in and they're going really nicely, is that you have the ability then to be able to hand it off to someone else to be able to put that information together and collate that information together. So job cards, really, really important. Often overlooked, I feel, and it can often cause issues, but I think you need to push for it. And you need to make sure that they're simple enough that you get all the information you need, but have enough depth to them that it also allows you to be able to send an invoice where it matches. So in regards that the information, so the actual job that was completed matches the information on the invoice, which matches the costings associated with it, which makes life a lot easier and stops a bit of the runaround. So you got the job card side of things. Another area that I want to touch on is the scheduling. So I think this is an underutilized part of every job management software, is that you want to get the information out of your head and onto paper. Or in this sense, it's not so much paper, but it's in a digital schedule, which is associated with the job management software, which then in turn allows you to become more organized also again. So it gives you the ability to be able to get the schedule out of your head into a digital format, and then it allows your team to know where they're going and what they're doing without having to come back to you all the time. So it alleviates you from being the central point of information. So it's, hey, it's out there. Hey, you need to check your schedule. Hey, you need to check your schedule. Saves late night text messages, a late phone call, a late, whatever it is, how you're communicating, allows you to click in, hey, just refer back, check the app, it's in there. So really encourage you to utilize your schedule, and then you get an idea of how it's performing, and then that information in the schedule will feed into the hours associated with the jobs. And then what you can do over time is you can start to get better at monitoring your schedule as well and get it tighter so there's less gaps within your schedule. So schedule part's really important. One of the last things I want to have a look at here is timesheets. So I really think it's really important to implement timesheets for your employees so that they're submitting a timesheet every single week of what they've been doing, what the amount of hours that they've worked. This information then can be cross-checked. So cross-checked against your schedule, which I just touched on there. So there is some kind of accountability and some kind of responsibility associated with your staff members so that they have the ability to be able to provide that information to you. So again, that doesn't revolve around you as the business owner. So, hey, how many hours did you do this week when payroll's coming up? It's like, hey, this information is provided to us. We've cross-checked it against the schedule. Yes, it lines up. No, it doesn't line up. And then you can check, hey, why it doesn't line up in that sense. It could be an error. It could be an error on the scheduling front. It could be an error on the timesheet entry. But what it does, it creates an element of accountability and responsibility on the staff members to be able to facilitate that. Now, I probably can't emphasize how important a few of these steps are to alleviate you as the business owner of carrying all of the information. And I think that's the key thing that you're probably feeling, is that I'm ignoring some of these things because it all revolves around me and I don't know how to deal with it, right? Or it could be, hey, I'm just winging it and I'm doing the best I can and I'm just dealing with it all because I don't know any better. And what I want to do is I want to encourage you to have a look at, like, how are you doing it currently and how can you make it simpler for you? What tools and what am I already using in a software sense? So job management software, your accounting software. What do I have already at my disposal that I'm not using to its full extent? And it's not about adding more things to it. It's not about creating more work or anything like that. It's just purely, how can I optimize what I'm already doing and make life easier for me? So have a look at how you're currently doing things and how can I make it better? And a lot of it is just about spending some time and putting some effort and energy into streamlining what you already do, right? And what you already have access to, but instead of doing it the long way round, we're going to start doing it the short way round. So they're probably just some considerations to take into account when you're having a look at your overall admin side of things. So I will recap a couple of them, or I will recap them for is like having a look at like, hey, what are we doing? How are we operationally and logistically running, with our emails? How are we running with our job management software? How are we running with our document management software? Have we got access to all of our passwords and portals and things like that? Who are our suppliers? How can we get better with our suppliers, right? So how do I stop all these reimbursements and how do I stop all these cash payments? So I create credit accounts with my suppliers. I get fuel cards for the guys, right? I just get a little bit more organized associated with it. How can I get my Xero a bit more organized? What is my accounting software telling me? What's the story it's telling me? And it's going to be telling you a story, right? If it's hard to reconcile, right, it's because it's disorganized, right? So have a look at it. How can I make that better? How can I introduce some structure to my purchasing? How do I make life easier with my purchasing? How do I embrace my job management software to be able to schedule out of it better? How do I embrace my job management software to be able to get the information I need out of job cards? How can I embrace some timesheets to be able to make life easier for me and my team, and then to make the payroll easier for my team? How do I look at making things more organized and simplified on a base level to then make the accounting side, the administration side enjoyable again, and a pivotal cog in the business that is streamlined and easy to work with. So I just want to encourage everyone to have a think about how they're currently operating and how they're doing things, and where they can just make a small change, a small difference. It doesn't have to be the end of the. How am I currently doing it? How am I currently utilizing what I have? How can I introduce something in regards to an easy one? I have a look at how can I introduce HubDoc into my daily use of my job management software, my accounting software like Xero, for example. How can I make sure that the job cards are a bit better? What script do I need to write up for that? How can I make sure that how can I get the timesheets to be better? How do I introduce I'm going to introduce timesheets to make payroll easier for me, because I'm sitting here tearing my hair out every single day. Hey, have I checked that I'm paying my staff members correct lately? So what are the small things that you can do to have a look at? Happy to have this discussion if anyone wants to talk a little bit further about, hey, what's happening with their admin, or they're not sure on where to start or even where to look at. Happy to discuss that further and dive into it all. But whatever you're doing, whatever you're up to, have a think about how can I get a little bit better and how can I get a little bit organized in my admin sense. So I want to leave you, whatever you're doing, whatever you're up to, wherever you are, whether you're in the ceiling, whether you're driving around from job to job, whether you're hanging some cable tray or putting up some antenna wiring. Hope you have an enjoyable day. Hope you stay safe out there, and thanks for tuning in as always. Peace.